All right. What's up, everybody? Good morning. Welcome to a Sunday edition of Morning Scone, presented by Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic. Hoodco Roofing, hoodcoroofing.com. Restored Motions, restoredmotions.com, and ProCharge EV, ProChargeEV.com. Ooh, put that. All right, we'll say some good mornings here. Tigers lose game 2, 8-6. Long game. Late start at 8 o'clock. Game went nearly 4 hours. Ugh. It was a game where Auburn, as we talked about, kind of went all in. They saved Tommy Vale. Tommy Vale had been their best guy. They decided not to throw him against Skeens. They saved him for game 2. They went all in to get that win in game 2, and they got it by the hardest, but they got it. LSU out-hit Auburn 12-7. Auburn committed 2 errors. LSU committed none. But ultimately, it was the walks and the lack of a timely hit that did LSU in. LSU left 13 on base last night. Left the bases loaded 3 times. That'll get you. Auburn left 5 on base. By contrast, Auburn in the game had just 7 hits. So, but LSU pitching struck out 13. I mean, there's a lot that you're gonna look at and go, man, LSU out hit Auburn 12-7. LSU had no errors. Auburn had 2. Auburn had a runner thrown out at the plate trying to steal home. LSU struck out 13. You look at it and you go, man, what happened? LSU walked 7 and had 3 wild pitches. Man, and the shame of it is for Ty Floyd. There's some stuff I want to talk about in the game as it played out, but LSU in some respects were their own worst enemy. Ty Floyd through the first 3 innings was magnificent. I actually tweeted, like, am I watching Ty Floyd or Alex Lang? Keep in mind, last year when we watched Ty Floyd, all he did was throw fastballs. Remember, the whole thing on Ty Floyd was he couldn't throw a breaking ball. And yesterday, he's snapping off an 80-mile-an-hour hook in any count and throwing it for a strike. And that's what gets hitters off balance, because if you can throw that hook for a strike, when they see it, they got to swing. Well, you may be throwing it 58 feet the next time and they're swinging over the top of it. That's what Alex Lang did his whole career at LSU. And just whenever you think you're getting the timing for the hook at 80 miles an hour, here comes 94 with run at the letters, and you can't catch up to it. So he was freaking absolutely masterful through 3 innings. And then the shenanigans started or continued in the 4th. And the shame of it is, so there was the walk, then the balk call. And the balk is when we now know was Josh Jordan got thrown out of the game. So you got a runner at second. They single through the right side. Keep the runner at third, but the throw from right went home, so the runner was advanced to second. So now you got second and third, nobody out. Well, Floyd comes back and gets a strikeout. And then the next batter, he's got him down 2 strikes. And then the shenanigans started again. Jay Johnson comes out of the dugout. Then that's when Butch Thompson comes out of the dugout, and he's all, and this stuff carries on for 5 minutes. Remember, Floyd's already got one strikeout, and now he's got this batter down to two strikes, second and third. He's about to punch him out, and now they completely got Floyd out of his rhythm because Butch Thompson comes out of the dugout and yells for 5 minutes, and then of course we saw a walk and a wild pitch and a run scores, and then another walk and a run scores and a strikeout, and then they walk another batter. It was the pinch hitter batting 118, and Floyd can't throw his breaking ball for a strike anymore. Yet they keep calling the breaking ball, and he walks a 118 pinch hitter. Like, that's where I'll go, man. What was Wes Johnson doing in the fourth inning? Like, what was he calling? And I would say the same thing whenever they brought in Guidry, who walked in a run and then got a strikeout. But that was the thing with Guidry. Guidry came out of the bullpen through 6 straight off-speed pitches and walked in a run. It's like, what are you doing? I mean, what are you doing? At some point, like, you've got to call a fastball. And if they hit it, tip your cap, but you can't just keep walking guys. Like, that's where I go. Like, the pitch selection from Wes Johnson at times last night was baffling. Bryce Collins came in, couldn't throw a strike, kept calling breaking balls. Well, why? I get it. He's a curveball pitcher. Why did you bring him in? Anyway, that was perplexing last night. Some of the pitch selection for sure. But ultimately, look, the bottom line came down to it was LSU. You walked too many guys in key spots, and then you had opportunities, man. The 5th inning, I mean, you had bases loaded for Cruz and White, and you got 1 run home. I mean, so you had your opportunities offensively to blow that game wide open. You didn't do it. I'll tell you, I was a little surprised Guidry came in and just faced the 2 hitters. He just got that gotcha out of the 4th. And then they went to Javen Coleman thinking, all right, let's see if Coleman can get us home or how deep Coleman can go. And it, didn't really work out that way. So then you just saw a parade of relievers, after Coleman just pitched 1 inning. So then it was Collins and Cooper and Dutton and 11 pitchers combined through in the game. So anyway, look, it's not the end of the world. You just had you won 8 consecutive conference games, which is the longest streak since 2013, which was a team that went 23-7 in the league, the best record an LSU team ever had in league play. So, I mean, you won 8 consecutive league games. Okay, just you weren't going to win them all. So you dropped that one. It was the one Auburn was all in on. You could have won it, sure, but like if you go win today and you win the series, you're completely on track for everything you want, which your national seed, all that stuff. So, if you win today, you win the series, and then you get Mississippi State coming in next week, who is just atrocious. And at that point, you could completely lock up a national seed after next weekend. So, okay, we'll say some good mornings here. All right. Do me a favor, YouTube, smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel, Facebook, please like the page, share the post. The first comment, I'm guessing, is just someone trolling me. He's asking, should they move Trey Morgan to catcher just to give everything a jolt? I'm guessing he's just trolling, so I'm going to ignore him. Go Tigers, Blake Botker, good morning. Larry Gardner, John Melanson, Matt House. Drew's good, thanks. Bummer last night. Fletcher win the series today. Strong side, Trivia Carter, Samuel Smith. I caught at St. Thomas Aquinas with Kate Savick a lot. I don't understand Travinsky being on a knee with runners on. Yeah, I mean, Samuel, I'm with you on just in general in the catching position today with guys going to a knee. I'm sure part of it is just to preserve their knees so they get down on a knee instead of in the crouch. But yes, I agree with you. I honestly, listen, and I want to say this, understanding Travinsky homered last night and had a single. He also struck out 3 times. I don't like having Travinsky in the lineup. I mean, let me rephrase that. he's a really good player, and he's earned opportunities. And clearly, I mean, he had a big home run against Ole Miss. I get all that. Milazzo's a better defensive catcher, but more so, look at what having Travinsky in the lineup did to your lineup yesterday because of where you had to put him. You ended up having Jared Jones in the 9-hole. You know, Braden Joubert got the starting right, and you move Thompson up to the 5-hole, which I hate. We've talked about that. I like Thompson down in the 8-hole. I mean, ideally, you'd go Dugas, Morgan, Cruz, White, Beloso, Jones, Joubert, Thompson, Milazzo. I think that's your best lineup. I think that's the most productive lineup they've had all year. But again, I'm not putting anything on Travinsky. I mean, Travinsky homered yesterday, he played fine. Like, that's not the point. And it's not him. It's more when he's in there, how the lineup shuffles in a manner that I don't like. I don't think it's their best lineup. So anyway, Matt Plavidal, Matt, don't know if Drew is up, but you asked me to remind you my birthday is tomorrow. I wanted Drew to sing happy birthday. He'll be 49 tomorrow. Okay, dude. Drew is up. If I can get him in here, I will absolutely have him sing to you. Hey, Drew. He's watching his iPad, so he may not come in here. But at some point, he'll be here. Hey, Drew. Drew, come see. He's watching elevator videos. He'll come in here in a bit. Gabe Cox, good morning. Nick Hessler, Matt, I hated how Jay handled all the pitching changes. I said it real time, whether they would have won or not. Thoughts? I don't know what you mean, like you hated how he handled the pitching changes. Like, what specifically didn't you like? I mean, I didn't, like, the one thing that I would have thought is they would have brought Guidry back in the 5th. Instead, they went to Coleman, which I'm completely fine with because Coleman has been nails. Coleman didn't have a great night. He walked 2, he gave up 2 hits, gave up a couple of runs. And then, I mean, you're losing at that point. So you're not going to bring in Herring because you're losing. I know a lot of y'all push back on this, but like, you're not going to, like, you bring your best arms out of the bullpen to preserve a lead. I mean, unless if you're in a do or die scenario. So you still haven't used Griffin Herring, so he's available today. But that's the only guy. I mean, you went Collins, Cooper, Dutton. I don't know who else you would have gone to. I mean, don't criticize the move without telling me what you would have liked to have done. I mean, I'm open to any conversation about it. I don't know what else they would have done. The only thing I didn't like was having Guidry throw just 1 inning. That's the only thing I didn't like. I'm sorry, he didn't even throw an inning. He threw a third of an inning. He just came in, walked the guy, got a strikeout, and then his night was done. I think he threw 11 pitches. Guidry threw 11 pitches, yeah. Kelly Gross, good morning. Kelly Presley, good morning. Wade Reeves, these crybabies are losing their minds out here. Talk them off the ledge, Matt. What crybabies? About LSU losing? I mean, look, here's the thing, Wade. I don't know how many more times I can say this. It's not football. You lose games in baseball. It happens. The 27 Yankees are the best team ever. They lost 45 times. Like, you lose baseball games. You've got the consensus #1 team in the country. You just had the longest conference winning streak in literally 10 years, matching a streak held by a team that finished 23-7 in the league. I mean, you haven't lost a series all year. Auburn went all in to win that game. They pitched backwards. LSU did not play a great game. I mean, they struck out 14 times. They left so many opportunities out there. But let's see. Dylan Horn loves seeing Floyd cruising until the umps threw his game off. Dylan, it wasn't the umps, man. The balk was atrocious. But he stopped being able to locate his breaking ball. I mean, that's what it was. I mean, the key for Ty Floyd is he has got to be able to throw his breaking ball for a strike. If he throws his breaking ball for a strike, he is awesome. But you could see it as soon as he lost command of his breaking ball, he just completely loses everything. Earl, good morning. Jason Horn and Randy Dabdoo. Let's see. Craig Duga. That was a slow progressing long bleep game. Yes, it was. Kirk Taylor, good morning. Bubba Tatum. I'm not sure how to describe the umps in family-friendly terms. I'll say this. The umps definitely did not have control of that game. Running who we initially thought was Jamie Tutko out of the dugout, stopping the game again because they thought it was back, and then ultimately realizing it was Josh Jordan, and it was Thompson yelling at everybody. Yes, it was not. They did not manage the game well. Let's see. Floyd was going well. Fourth inning was bizarre. Yeah, I mean, but look, before Floyd had started losing it before all the shenanigans. Like he walked the guy and gave up a hit. I mean, there were 2 on before the shenanigans started. Basically walked the guy, balked, and then gave up the hit. Brant Roban, 2 questions. Does Auburn have the upper hand pitching today? See people saying Auburn pitcher deliberately stalled during the 4th to ice our pitcher. The Auburn pitcher stalled in the 4th. I don't know what Auburn pitcher would have stalled in the 4th, but I mean, I think for sure that's what Butch Thompson was doing, coming out and yelling at the umpires. It was mid-count, and Floyd had 2 strikes and was about to get out of the jam. And then after Butch Thompson's shenanigans, Floyd walked him and then walked in a wild pitch and then walked in a run. And yeah, I mean, that's of course what Butch Thompson was doing. And I'm not good with the umpires allowing that to go on as long as it did. At some point, you have to say, get your bleep in the dugout or you're running, you know. And does Auburn have the upper hand at pitching? No. Auburn went all in to win yesterday. The only guy that had really kind of been consistent for Auburn over the last month has been Tommy Vale. So, who pitched yesterday? That was the whole point. Like, they held Tommy Vale, who LSU ran in the 4th inning. Like, Vale didn't have a great day. But they used their best arms out of the bullpen as well yesterday. Not that they even really have very many. They are going to throw Christian Herberholz today, who is a redshirt junior. Let's see. I know he hasn't won a game yet on the season. He's 0-3. And he's not a guy that's like, they really don't have starting pitching. That's their problem, is like their starters don't extend. Hang on. So Herberholz, just as a for instance, here you go. God dog it. All right. Boom. All right. Herberholz has a 4.69 ERA. That's all games. That's not conference only. He's 0-3. He's made 15 appearances with 6 starts. 40 1/3 innings pitched, 37 strikeouts, and 20 walks. So fewer than a strikeout per inning and 20 walks in 40 innings pitched. So, and the batting average against is .294. So he ain't great. And his longest outing of the year is... He went 5 innings against Mississippi State. He's gone 4 innings a couple of times. But, I mean, he's just an arm. Like, This ain't a guy that does anything special. I mean, he's 6 foot, 200 pounds, not necessarily a power pitcher, doesn't do anything spectacular. He'll walk you. Batting average against is 300. I mean, you got to go hit this guy today. Jeff McKithen, Paul Losi. Let's see. Ryan Dixon. This team has to get mentally tough and block out noise. Mental game is the only thing that will stop him. Cruz didn't seem right last night. It's just so weird to see Cruz have an off night like that. I don't know that I agree with you on this team not being mentally tough. I think they're extremely mentally tough, as evidenced by the fact that every time they get down, they always come back. I mean, it's even last night. I mean, every time it seemed like Auburn would score, LSU would answer. So I don't know that I agree on the whole mentally tough thing. I think this is a very mentally tough team. Last night was a weird game where you had guys up in situations when you wanted them up. I mean, having Dylan Cruz and Tommy White up with the bases loaded and less than 2 outs, like, you got it, like, and have Dylan Cruz strike out in that spot. I mean, put the ball in the air. Just put the ball in play, you're going to get a run home. Put the ball in the outfield, you get a run home, right? So, listen, I'm not going to sit here and criticize Dylan Cruz. Dude's amazing. He's had a bad night. I mean, he did. I mean, he was 0 for 4, 0 for 5 last night. Cruz was 0 for 4 with a walk and a strikeout. I mean, his first AB, I was watching him with my dad and my grandpa said he's on the first pitch fastball. First pitch of the AB popped it up on the infield, you know. I think the second AB is when he struck out. He had another one where he put a good swing on it. He just got under it a little bit, popped out. I mean, he just what a great night. It happens. But when you're batting 500, everyone expects you to come through every time, right? He's had a bad night. Let's see, Matt. I think LSU loses to Alabama but wins the West. Do you agree? No. Tyler Cooley, thoughts on why the umps allowed the Auburn coach to stall the game? Yeah. We've talked about it a few times here this morning, but I completely agree. That's good on Butch Thompson. I mean, it's what he was doing, and it worked. I mean, it was mid-count with 2 strikes on his hitter after Floyd had kind of rebounded to get a strikeout. And the strikeout, we all knew he had to throw a fastball, and he threw the fastball, it tailed into the right-handed hitter right at the knees and painted it and got the call. And I mean, I thought Butch Thompson realized his opportunity there was slipping away. And so, anyway, whatever. Austin Kidder, morning, Matt, with Cruz 0 for 4 and our pitchers issuing 7 walks. It's amazing we still have a chance to win in the 9th. This team is a hard out. How fun our Sunday rubber matches. The thing about this team being a hard out is certainly true. I think I tweeted that after the game. Like, Auburn went all in. LSU hardly played their best game, and it still went down the way it did to get to the wire. So, LSU is a hard out, no doubt. Let's see, Brian Ashcraft, bases loaded 3 times, 2 of those with your best player at bat. For 2 of those, you plate 1 run. That can't happen. I mean, yeah. I mean, I think we're all probably saying the same thing at this point. That's 100% right. I mean, you have the guys up in those situations you wanted to have up, and they just didn't come through. So, Dylan Cruz had a bad night. I mean, he's allowed every now and again, but not too often. Joey Metke, good morning. What's with the one of the LSU staff getting thrown out of the game? Yeah, I mean, the only thing clearly was after the non-balk call against Auburn, and then they called the balk against Floyd. I guess it was Josh Jordan, because they said later in the game that you saw Wanaka go coach third, which is where Jordan usually is, and they had a player coaching first. So Josh Jordan got a run. I don't know what he said. I mean, I'm sure he just said some not too pleasant things from the dugout. Let's see. Gulf South. Floyd was on fire until Auburn's coach yelled at the umps for 5 minutes. Yeah. Well, he wasn't. Okay, so that's the other thing we got to clarify. Okay, I'm going to say this again for those who maybe just jumped aboard. Floyd was scuffling. in the fourth and looked like he was trying to get out of it. So he started the fourth with a 5-pitch walk. It was a 3-1 county walk, right? So he started with a walk. Then there was the balk. Okay, so you have a runner at second, nobody out. And that's where Josh Jordan was ejected, was with the balk. Then you single to right. Joe Bear threw the ball home, and it allowed the runner to get the second. So you have second and third with nobody out, okay? And that's when Floyd came back and got the strikeout. So it's second and third, 1 out, which was huge. And then Floyd had a 2-strike count on Ware, and that's when, so it's second and third, 1 out, and it's a 2-strike count on Ware, and that's when Butch Thompson came out of the dugout and raised hell for 5 minutes, and like mid count, and that's what threw Floyd off, and ultimately Floyd threw a wild pitch, which allowed the run to score, and he walked Ware. So that's where I think it really changed. And then he walked another, then got a strikeout for the second out. And then with the bases loaded, they pinch hit the kid who's batting 118. And he walked kid 6 pitches. Kid didn't take the bat off his shoulder. Maybe it was 5 pitches. It was 5 pitches. Kid didn't take the bat off his shoulder. Pinch hitter hitting 118, didn't have to swing, walked in a run. And that's when they brought in Guidry. So it, like, he wasn't cruising at that. Like, he was in a sticky situation, I guess is the point at that. Floyd was in a sticky situation. Like, he had walked a guy, he had balked, which I don't think he balked, but they called the balk. He gave up a hit, and he was behind the count. He was trying to steady it, and that's when Butch Thompson came out. So I'm with you on that, but it's hard to say he was cruising at that point because he was in a tough situation, second and third with nobody out. Did you figure out the outlet? I did. The GFI was outside, so I had to go reset. It was on an outlet outside, like by our front door, which is right there. So yes, thank you for your concern. Damon Gilmore, what up? What up, E-Rock? E-Rock is still sleeping. Russell Doloff, good morning. 119 days till kickoff. Hunter Fournette. Are we going to talk about how sensitive the pudgy fellow behind home plate was? I didn't even notice. Okay. You're talking about the umpire. Sorry. Let's see. Wes Johnson has had multiple games with highly questionable pitch selections. I mean, listen, here's the thing. Like, I think sometimes, so look, I thought he was masterful calling pitches for Skeens on Friday. And you could say, well, Skeens is great, which he is. But when Skeens typically leads with the fastball and you completely change it for this lineup and you're leading with off-speed stuff, and then you follow it up with 100, I thought it was pretty brilliant. And it showed. He got 15 strikeouts. And, yesterday, Floyd was cruising early, throwing the breaking ball for a strike. My problem is when you're in a situation with the bases loaded and your pitcher can't throw a breaking ball for a strike, you've got to throw a fastball. Like, you can't call a breaking ball. And they did, and walked in runs, and that's, well, anyway. Bruce Shales, good morning. Let's see, John, do you think Coleman is available for today? No. And do you think Herring is first out of the bullpen? I do think Herring's got to be first out of the bullpen today. So you hope Little can get you 9, 12 out, something like that, get you through 3-4 innings, then give the ball to Herring and see how deep he can get you. And hopefully your offense comes through in a big way today. And it's a nice, easy, relaxing Sunday. But no, I do not think Coleman's coming back today. Again, they're still taking it slow with him and ramping him up and seeing how he feels coming off of Tommy John and all that stuff. But no, 31 pitches, they're not bringing him, especially last night. I mean, you're not going to bring him back less than 24 hours later. No way. Tyler Cooley, I know the arms are limited, but why Jay keeps showing loyalty to Cooper and Collins, who have been hit or miss all season? Well, who else? Okay, so I'll ask you, Tyler, what the person earlier said. Who else are you going to go to in that situation? You have to keep in mind, like, you're losing. you're not going to go bring in Griffin Herring in a situation when you're losing. You're not going to burn your best remaining arm in the bullpen when you're losing. Had they been ahead, then absolutely, you go get Griffin Herring and say, here, close this out for me. But you're not going to go burn that arm when you're losing. Josh Giraldo, they're getting nothing out of Joe Bear. Average at best defense, non-competitive at bats. I mean, Joe Bear's hitting 300. Like, I don't know that I can completely get down with saying they're getting nothing from him at the plate. And I don't know that you honestly have a better option. Like, he's Paxton Kling, who I think is going to be a great player. I think we all probably agree on that. Like, Paxton Kling right now is just overmatched by SEC pitching. Like, all right, here you go. Joe Bear's hitting 284. So Kling's hitting 303, but I need to look at Kling's SEC splits. It's why Kling isn't playing. And then who else do we say? Oh, Pearson. Pearson's hitting 213. So like Pearson gives you a competitive at bat. He just has not been productive at all. So if you want Pearson in there because he's a better defender, okay. But I don't need, like, right field's not a premium defensive position. I don't need a great defender in right. And Joe Bear's plenty good enough. Joe Bear does give you the possibility of running into one and running one out the yard. He's also got 11 doubles on the season as well. He's got 7 homers and 11 doubles. So, like, he can give you the extra base hit. He can give you the double in the gap. He can give you the homer. I wonder if they have. I want to find, I'm sorry, y'all, bear with me, please. I do want to find, sorry, it's going to take me a second to find it. I'm trying to find, I want to find Paxton Kling's batting average in conference games. This might take me a minute, y'all. Well, I'm not going to, let's just keep going. Anyway, or if someone has it or can find it, just drop it in the comments. But that's the problem you have. So who is that? That was Josh Giraldo saying you're getting nothing out of Joe Bear. That's not true. Like, he's got 11 doubles, 11 doubles, 7 homers. He's hitting 284, which is 70 points higher than Pearson, and Kling, unfortunately, just isn't ready to hit SEC pitching. Kling's got 22 strikeouts on the year to just 7 walks. 22 strikeouts and 76 ABs is just, you're striking out 1 every 3 at bats. I mean, that's what people would criticize Alex Milazzo for. When he was you're just an out. So, look, I think Kling's awesome. He's going to be a great player, and he's going to start next year. Might be your starting center fielder next year. But he's, I don't know that I can, so, I mean, to your point, Josh, you don't have a better option. You don't have a better option. Let's see. Let's see. Oh, Anthony Guglieluzza, or Galuzza, as he would say. Only thing I'll say is the bullpen is really bad. No, they're not really bad. They were bad last night. But again, the thing that I'll tell you is you have to keep in mind what it's going to look like once you get into a tournament play. Do you trust, where were you, Anthony, when you saw the bullpen come up aces with Ackenhausen and Hurd on Friday. That looked really good, didn't it? You preserve the shutout coming out. You feel really good about Guidry. You haven't even used Herring yet. Javen Coleman has been really good. Not great last night, but has been really good for you. You've got enough arms. Like, the thing that just, I mean, you shut out Southeastern on Tuesday. I mean, it's always funny to me how, and I'm going to say this, I know I've said it, I'll say it again. When you convince yourself of a narrative, not you specifically, Anthony, I mean, you do this, but fans or people in general, you convince yourselves of a narrative. And, oh, thank you. Paxton Kling, 154 in conference play. Thank you. How many strikeouts, if you have it, Tyler? So that's my point, right? So, like, Kling's hitting 154 in conference play. You're like, that's just not, in no way is that approachable. Like, you can't play him. You could pinch hit him. He can pinch run. You know, you're up big. You want to put him in as a defensive play? Sure. But you can't start Paxton Kling. So, he's hitting 303 because he was great in the pre-conference. That makes sense. Like, when you're a great high school player and in the pre-conference you're seeing dudes throwing 89, 91, it looks like it did in high school, and on the show clip, you get into conference play, it's just not as good. So 12 strikeouts and how many ABs? So anyway, what were we talking? Oh yeah. So, like, you convince yourselves of a narrative. So, and it's the same thing with Jordan Thompson. This is the point I was making about Jordan Thompson was Thompson struggled at the beginning of last season, and so everyone convinced themselves, terrible shortstop, commits all these errors. Well, he was very good in the second half of last year. And Thompson has been magnificent this year. But, and like, he made a play, y'all saw the play he made yesterday, you ranging to his right, where he got the ball spun and threw a dart. No, I mean, that's a big league play. And like, you point that out, and then you get, oh, well, it's not that, it's the easy throws that make me worry. I looked it up last night. Jordan Thompson has had 100 and wait, let me not guess. Thompson on the season has had Thompson has had 123 chances, 7 errors. On 123 chances, he's committed 7 errors. Like, if you're sitting here telling me he's a bad shortstop, he's not a prospect, like, you're just wrong, and that's stupid. I'm not saying you're stupid. I'm saying that's stupid. But people have married themselves to this idea that Thompson's not a good shortstop, that he's erratic and all this sort of stuff. No, he's not. He's had 123 chances. He's committed 7 errors. He's been sensational. He makes big league plays like he did last night. But you convince yourself of that. And so it's the same thing with bullpen. Like, I'm not telling you that they got a bunch of dudes that are complete and total dogs and stoppers and they're just phenomenal. But you're also, I mean, look at what your team is. Like, you're the number 1 team in the country, and you don't also look at anybody else, like, to notice what's going on in college baseball right now, which is everybody's ERAs are ballooning. Like, I just went through, look at the conference-only statistics that we were just talking about. Like, if you look at conference-only ERA, Vanderbilt leads the SEC, conference games only, with a 4.54 ERA. I mean, the best ERA in the league is nearly 5. I mean, nobody, like, we're watching gorilla ball again. Hunt went through this week, and he's right. Like, he and I were talking about it. He and I were talking about it last Sunday at the box, and then, and he did. I know he did a segment on it this week where he went through the numbers. But he's right. Like, look around college baseball. Look around the conference. You're seeing the balls are juiced, the bats are juiced again, and you're seeing offensive baseball that looks more like it did in the 90s. And 2000s until they changed the bats. So, I mean, I'm with you in that I'm not good with the walks. The walks have been a problem for this team and this pitching staff at times. But if you're coming out and just saying bullpen's trash, then you're ignoring that the bullpen held Auburn down on the road with Ackenhausen and Hurd. They were awesome. You're ignoring the fact that LSU just went and shut out Southeastern. Like, you're ignoring the fact that LSU won 8 consecutive conference games. Like, you're ignoring all the good. You're ignoring how good Griffin Herring's been. And people are like, oh, Wes Johnson's a fraud. Like, do you realize you lost Grant Taylor, who was your second best pitcher at the start of the season? Chase Shores, a guy 6'8", throwing 100 and had become your best reliever out of the bullpen, and Garrett Edwards, who was your stopper and your most sort of consistent strike thrower. 3 of your best arms you lost. Gavin Guidry didn't even pitch in the fall. He's become one of your best relievers. Griffin Herring is a freshman who you've been able to develop as well. Thatcher Hurd has had this meandering path coming back from this injury, but it looks like he's coming along. And now you're getting Javen Coleman off injury. Like, you can't look at things in a vacuum. You've got to be willing to look at all the circumstances surrounding, saying, that's actually pretty remarkable. Like, what would this team look like if they had Grant Taylor, Chase Shores, Garrett Edwards? You wouldn't even see Bryce Collins in a game. Hang on. All right, sorry about that. Anyway, I hope all that makes sense. I should have done this when I walked away. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Awful weather yesterday, y'all. Rained all day. If you or someone you know has a roofing issue, give a shout. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Hudco's pinned in the chat, by the way. Let's see. Jeremy Sagely, what's going on? Whoops. Sorry, I lost my spot. I'm back here on Facebook. My apologies, I lost my spot. Earl, Neil must be banged up pretty bad. Yes. Michael Cook, good morning. Bart St. Germain, striking out with the bases loaded with less than 2 outs, killed them. Pass balls hurt, walks hurt. Yeah. Get rid of one of those two, they win the game. I agree. I mean, largely, I would say without the walks were inning starters for Auburn, and really it was that 4th inning. You hated to see that happen the way it did. But Bubba Smith, good morning. BJ Bollinger, just an arm going for LSU today. Auburn getting to him today. I mean, I don't know that I agree with that. I mean, you got Christian Little going today, and Little's been really good, at least at getting you off to a good start. I think if Little can get you 9 outs and you can hand it off to Griffin Herring and your bats can get going, I like LSU today. Why wouldn't you? Gary Atchison, good morning, Scone. Let's see. If they keep thinking they're not that great pitchers, they'll lose this series. Weird game, just couldn't get the hit with so many opportunities. Flush and focus today. Let's see, Brant, many other top teams got beat yesterday. Yeah, look, Alabama won the series against Vanderbilt. I know no I know like when I say a lot of people always push back, but it's true. It's baseball. Like you lose games in baseball, you lose series in baseball. It's why it's so bizarre. Um, it like not bizarre. It's why it's so impressive that like this LSU team has literally not lost a weekend. Like they have not lost a weekend all year, and like that just doesn't happen. I mean, South Carolina have been one of the best teams in the country. They lost a home series last weekend to Auburn, to this Auburn team who's came into the weekend 9-12 in conference play. Just it's baseball. So BJ Bollinger obviously is an Auburn fan. Either that or he's just like a troll. Auburn's been the most consistent team the past 5 or 6 years. Okay. Got it. You got it, dude. Okay, take care. He's like, and if Gonzalez hadn't gotten hurt, they'd be better. Yeah, for sure. And LSU lost Grant Taylor and Chase Shores and Garrett Edwards. And yeah, like everybody has pitching injuries. And Arkansas lost 2 of its guys in the weekend rotation, yet they're still in the top 10. Like, run along. Nice to see you here. Go play, go pound sand. See ya. Let's see. Lance Richard. Let's see. We learned yesterday Dylan Cruz is in fact human. Came out with the base loaded twice. I thought he was going to blow the game open. Yeah, it's the situation you wanted for sure. I see Greg Daigle. I say get Kling in there more. Let him work through his struggles. No. He is the future in center field, Greg. I agree with you. Like I think he's your starter in center field next year. But this isn't a team where you're putting a guy in the lineup just to work through his struggles. You want to do that in a midweek? Okay. You want to get him some ABs? That's fine. But what's clear is you have a large enough sample to where he can't hit SEC pitching. So Joe Bear has been through those battles. Like we've seen that dude hit 18 homers. Like that's your guy in right field. Like that's not like this isn't a debate. It's not to say that Kling won't have an opportunity at some point to pinch run, to be a defensive replacement, be in a big AB, pinch hit, something like that. I mean, look, he got the pinch hit last night. Flew out to center. Like, and I think, by the way, I think Kling is going to be awesome. It is just not this year. Let's see, Bart. I don't always agree because a player can hit a home run, he should be in the game. I completely agree, by the way. I've never said that. Bart, you're giving the example about the catcher. That was always my point about Milazzo. Like, when people wanted Travinsky, I'm like, no, that's a premium defensive position. You need someone to control your pitching staff and to frame pitches and work the umpire and all that sort of stuff. Like, I don't need someone in there who's going to go 1 for 5 with 4 strikeouts and the possibility of a solo homer. I'm with you. We're talking about Joe Bear and right. The difference is right field is not a premium defensive position, and you don't have a better alternative. That's the difference. Like, you don't have a better alternative than Joe Bear. We just went through this. Kling's hitting 150 in conference play, and Joe Bear's hitting 70 points higher than Pearson. So he's a better option at the plate, and there isn't a dramatic difference defensively. So, and it's not a premium position. I know what y'all are going to do. Y'all are going to bring up the play against Kentucky where he overran the ball. Okay. And last weekend left, Trey Morgan let one bounce out of his glove, and everybody throughout the course of the season has had miscues. It's what happens in baseball when you play 56 and have a large sample. Like, you're going to kick a ball every now and again. But my point is, right field's not a premium position, so Joe Bear has been more than serviceable in right, and I would rather his bat in the lineup than either of the other 2 guys. Let's see. Sean Gasser, is Herring good to go today? See Ryan Dixon saying Joe Bear. Ryan, I think you and I are on the same page with that one. Like, I think you're saying, I see there's an angry face. Maybe someone angry face emoji'd you, but you're right. I mean, Joe Bear is the answer, right? I mean, there's a reason he's playing. Like, that's not even one that I think is debatable. I'm seeing honestly too much rotation at catcher for my liking. Like, Milazzo's your best defensive catcher, and he's hitting 370. Like, he doesn't have home run pay. He's not going to run one out of the yard, but he's going to give you a productive at-bat at the bottom of the lineup. He's getting on base and turning the lineup over. And with Milazzo in the 9-hole, it also allows you to stack your bigger bats ahead. Anyway. Sean Gasser, is Herring good to go today? Yes. Says surprised he hasn't been used. Well, again, like Friday, my point Friday was I was surprised they didn't go Herring Guidry after Skeens. The fact that they went Ackenhausen, Hurd, and it was awesome, I think shows more depth and development in the bullpen. Last night, there just wasn't an opportunity to bring Griffin Herring out of the bullpen. Like, you were losing. So had they been winning, I think they would have gone to him. But they weren't. So now I believe Herring is your first out of the bullpen today. So you let Little go, and hopefully the offense shows up in a big way, and Herring's your first out of the bullpen today. Yeah, so Kirk said wild day in baseball despite losing LSU's number one in the overall SEC standings. That's Alabama did LSU a favor yesterday by beating Vanderbilt. So because of percentage points, of course LSU didn't play one of the games against South Carolina. So percentage points, LSU still leading the league. Let's see. Okay, Brad, I got you. Talking about Milazzo. Got it. No, we agree. We agree. All right, y'all smash the like button if you would. 160 watching live on YouTube. If you would take a quick second, smash that like button, subscribe up to the channel if you haven't done so yet. Facebook, please like the page, share the post. Like the Matt Moscona page. Would appreciate it if you do that and share this post. Appreciate y'all for being there as always. Jeb Whitley, good morning. Found a range of motion and stretching therapist in Speedwell. Okay. Cesar Vasquez, good morning. Can you clarify when a batter is announced and steps to the plate, isn't he supposed to bat unless he's injured? I've never seen a sub out like that before. Are you talking about in the fourth when Auburn pinch hit the kid that was batting 118? Yeah, I mean, once you're announced, you're at the plate, yes. Joey B19, you would think that given, because otherwise you could just have this, right? You could keep switching pitchers and hitters back and forth until yes. I don't know that I remember. Are you talking about in the fourth when they pinch hit the kid that was batting 118, who walked on 6 pitches? Who Guidry walked on 6 pitches? He threw 6 straight breaking balls. You got to throw him a fastball. Anyway, kid's hitting 118. Anyway. Joey B19, you'd think given our baseball history over the last 30 years, LSU fans might understand baseball a little better. You can't win every game. It's always perplexed me, man. But I think we see it over and over again. Like, I know this always sounds so douchey and insulting, and I don't mean it that way, but it's true. I don't think LSU has like these really super smart, savvy baseball fans. I just think they have great, passionate, loyal fans that watch and support because the team has won and they're emotionally tied to it. But this is the example I've always given. If you cheer for LSU, you'll still go home on a Thursday night and watch Virginia Tech against Wake Forest in football just because it's on and it's football. You know what I mean? I don't think there's many people that were watching Vanderbilt, Alabama Thursday night in baseball just because it was on. You know what I mean? I think that's the difference. So a lot of times you lack perspective and the nuance of the game when you don't watch a ton of other people play. You lose sight of the fact that all the complaining about LSU's pitching staff this year, I think people have completely lost sight of the fact that nobody has great pitching this year. I mean, I think Florida is probably the best example of this. Like, Florida has Sproat, Jack Kaggs, and Waldrop, who LSU got to see last year at the regional. Those dudes in conference play so like they only list the top 15. So that's the 15th best ERA in conference games only Zach Lee from Kentucky, who's got a 4.91 ERA, meaning none of the Florida guys I just mentioned. Sproat, Jack Kaggs, and Waldrop. In conference games only, none of them has an ERA better than 4.9. They all have an ERA of 5 or higher. Like, dude, are you like, that's insane. Like, nobody has this dominant rotation. It just doesn't exist in today's college baseball. And I think part of it is we are so freaking spoiled by Paul Skeens because we watch him and he's such a freaking outlier. You're like, why does it look so different? Well, because that guy is going to be pitching in the major leagues next year. Literally nobody else is. Anyway. Samuel Smith Thompson gets moved up to 5 every time we play against a lefty. I think a big part of that also is whenever, and I do understand that Jay likes to alternate lefty righty in the lineup. But you go back-to-back righties when you go White, Thompson, obviously because there's a lefty in the pitching. But that also is affected by having Travinski in there as well. Travinski's a righty, not because he's in there, just meaning Travinski isn't batting in the 9 hole, so it causes a shuffle and a trickle-down effect throughout the lineup. So instead of having Beloso in the 5 hole hitting behind White, you shuffle things and go back-to-back righties to try to produce there. Anyway. Gulf South, how about the umps missing a clear balk on Auburn in the 3rd? They catch the small flinch for Floyd in the 4th. Yeah, and look, I mean, I was watching the game last night. I wasn't paying attention to the balk in the 3rd, but that was pretty obvious. The guy came set and stepped off. Like, I mean, that's inexcusable. Yeah, that's inexcusable. Jeff Hogg, good morning. Garrett Ewing, heard Herring has brace on his shoulder. Granted, from Twitter. Haven't seen it. Have you heard anything about it? A lot of those guys where, and you saw Skeens the other night in the dugout. So just to be very clear, I haven't heard anything about Herring being injured, needing a brace, and I didn't see what you're referring to. What I will say is you do see guys wear a brace that is also like a heating mechanism for their arm. Like Skeens was wearing one in the dugout, if you saw it the other night. They had a shot of him in the dugout. It's a strap that goes over, and like that might be what was heating his arm. So, Leon Williams, good morning. Brett DeGrow, good morning. G. Brumfield, 1971. LSU, hello from the Matsu Valley. Snow finally melting. Question. Recently heard we said 78 scholarship players in the roster after the spring game, other than a gray shirt or walk-on earning a scholarship. Poor change of mind. Will there be any strategic reason not to fill the remaining 7? So I think you'd be surprised that you don't often have a full 85 because of roster turnover. So that's why you see like walk-ons awarded scholarships and stuff like that. I don't think that you add someone just to add them to the roster, but if there are opportunities like grad transfers, post-spring portal or, for the semester, you certainly look at adding that. But I wouldn't be surprised if they went in with fewer than 85. Got to get way better at getting guys home today. Stunned how well Auburn has pitched, shutting us down at the plate. Yeah, I don't know that I'd say Auburn has shut LSU down at the plate. Friday, LSU winning the game with 5 hits was pretty stunning, but LSU had 12 hits last night. They just left 14 guys on base, 15 guys on base. I mean, there's a difference between like 13 guys on base. You just have to come through in certain like run scoring situations. Like, I mean, this is not a criticism of Dylan Cruz. Nothing he does warrants criticism. He's phenomenal, but I mean, he did come up twice to the bases loaded and less than 2 outs. Like, you gotta get runs home. Is John Bell Edwards Louisiana Scrooge McDuck? Just watched the rant about the library. Mighty fine content, sir. Let's see. Paul's Rang was at dinner the first 3 innings. What circus occurred that I missed? Well, it was the 4th inning. That was the circus. But in the 3rd inning, the Auburn pitcher balked. It was not called. Jay came out to dispute it, which led to everything in the 4th when they did call a balk against Ty Floyd, and then LSU's dugout sort of erupted. Let's see. In conference play, I'm not convinced Floyd is consistent enough. We got to stop walking guys. Give me a better option as your number 2 starter. I'm all ears. Truax, what's good, man? Mike the Tiger, 2023 national champs. Do you think the SEC will go to 11 conference series in 2025? Good question. Of course, you're talking about baseball. Whenever Texas and Oklahoma are in the league, do you go from 10 to 11 weekends? I don't think that's the plan. I think the plan is to stick at 30 games in 10 weekends. It's just a matter of, how often you play. Like, I think they'll drop divisions. There's no reason to have divisions. So I just think you just have more of a rotation. Ryan, I don't know the answer, by the way. I'm telling you candidly, like, I don't know the answer what they're going to do. Ryan Pike, 2 questions. Do transfer portal people have official visit limit? Also, Johnny Wilson, massive wide receiver for Florida State. Do you think LSU had the DBs to man him? I don't remember any that tall. Just curious. Didn't they just change the rule for official visits to where you could take unlimited official visits? I think they just changed that rule. And Johnny Wilson, that was the wide receiver transfer from Arizona State who played for Florida State last year. He's like 6'6", 6'7", whatever. Do you think LSU have the DBs to man him? Like, I don't think anybody has DBs that are 6'7". So, no. But I think LSU is certainly going to be talented, very talented in the secondary, more talented this year than they were last year. Let's see. Oh, man, I'm so far behind. Sorry. Go Tigers. I find baseball extremely boring, unwatchable. I'm ready for football. The Tigers to win a national title. Okay. Paul Zarang, I know we are talking LSU. I was wondering about the Bama baseball team. Their record honestly didn't reflect how they played. Could the coach have tanked more games, do you think? I think that's a fair question, given what we know. But the thing is, like, I don't know that you actually saw anything. Like, could you go comb through and see things that would have been questionable coaching decisions that could have altered a game? Like when you pinch hit a guy, when you made a pitching change, that sort of thing. That, like, who you brought in a certain situation. Like, that's, I think, the bigger question. No, I just think Bama is a veteran team. They're not super talented, but they're a veteran team. Like, their whole team returned from last year. I mean, a lot of those guys have just been around for a long time and they've just played a lot, So, would you like to see Stevens get playing time in right field? No. Again, like, at this point, I'm more concerned with the with getting the best bat in the lineup, because I don't think there's a massive disparity in the level of play defensively out there. I think Stevenson and Kling are your best defensive options. But again, it's right field. Like if we were talking about center field, it's different. Like, I mean, the best example is Andrew Stevenson, right? When Andrew Stevenson was a freshman in 2013, he was hitting like 187, but he played center because he was basically like two outfielders. He caught everything, and it was a premium defensive position. So, I mean, y'all have heard me say it before, but center, shortstop, center field, right up the middle, you sacrifice a bat for a premium defender at those positions. So you have an elite defender at one of those positions, you'll sacrifice the bat. I mean, we've seen it over the years, right? Like, Papirski early in his career struggled offensively, but he was a brick wall behind the plate. Now he got much better offensively, of course, but look at the 2009 championship team. Whenever they made the switch to put Nola in at short and move LeMahieu to second because they wanted to be able to turn more double plays. Nola was hitting right about 200 as a freshman, right? But it was shortstop. So right field, I'm just not as concerned about it. As long as you don't have someone that's a complete and total liability out there, which Joe Bear is not a total liability. I mean, he's not Mark Laird, but no, I'm good. I'm good with him being out there. Daniel Blunt, good morning. Trent Delahousse. Not one umpire saw the obvious balk by the Auburn pitcher. Yeah. Trivia, are we forgetting Kling is a true freshman? I don't think so. I think, I think he's going to be your starting center fielder next year. And I think he's going to be awesome. And remember, he is a draft-eligible sophomore next year. So, big year next year, and he could be, he could be gone after next year. Okay, so thank you. So Tyler Cooley looked it up. So Kling is 154 in conference play, 12 strikeouts, and 26 at-bats. So, he's hitting 154, and he struck out in roughly half of his at-bats in conference play. You just can't justify playing Paxton Kling in conference games. Give him ABs in the midweek, absolutely. Get him out there, but he's just not ready to hit SEC pitching, that's okay. It's 10:40. Okay, I'm going to get rolling a little bit here, guys. As always, shout out to Brock, the Baton Rouge Orthopedic Clinic, Hudco Roofing. You need an orthopedist. Brock, they're the best. After-hours clinics open nights and weekends. So if you need an orthopedist today, go to Brock. Awful weather yesterday. Of course, Hudco Roofing, a lot of people, no doubt, had leaks or missing shingles. I mean, the weather was... there was a point yesterday where it looked like the spaceship was going to come out of the clouds on Independence Day. It was awful yesterday. So no matter where you are in Louisiana, if you need roofing help, Hudco's pinned in the chat in both Facebook and YouTube. So click that link, fill out the form on the homepage. We'll be in touch with you today. Hudco Roofing, HudcoRoofing.com. Of course, Restored Motions and ProCharge. Got pain? Book a session with Crystal Poche at Restored Motions. And learn more about EV chargers at ProChargeEV.com. ProChargeEV.com. Bullpen set up perfectly. If we get 3 to 4 out of Little, Hurd, Ack, Herring, all available. Yeah, you could definitely bring back Thatcher Hurd. You could definitely bring back Ackenhausen. Herring hasn't pitched this weekend. So you're in good shape. You got a hit. Peter Fenner, good morning. Let's see. Tyler Cooley, is DJ Primo also injured? He was Louisiana's #1 lefty pitcher by perfect game. Yeah, I think... I thought he pitched at one point this year. No, he didn't. Okay, never mind. Maybe he just had to wear a red shirt. Brennan Huff, Wes Johnson isn't a good pitch caller. That's so stupid. Oh, my God. Oh God. Some of you are so stupid. Oh, God. Anyway. Matt, some of the sports world has gone crazy over LSU women's basketball transfers, saying we're doing it just to beat Caitlin Clark, or people just brain dead. I don't care what people say. Everybody has access to the same transfer portal. Every team in America would add those transfers if they could. Kim Mulkey's just better than all of them. Austin Kid or Matt, for those of us who don't know, can you elaborate on the changes made to the balls and bats this year? Thanks. So they haven't said anything, Austin, publicly, but everybody who talks about it says the balls are juiced. Ben McDonald came on my show and said flatly the balls are juiced. Of course, they lowered the seams a few years ago. They could be winding the ball more tightly to juice it so it gets more exit velo. I mean, you're seeing exit velos up, you're seeing homers up. Like, look at all the numbers across the board. Like, something has changed, obviously. So, I mean, the guys I just mentioned, the pitchers from Florida, didn't just all of a sudden from year to year become bad pitchers. Like, look at all of the ERAs across the league. Like, ERAs are ballooning, home run numbers are up. Like, it's just obvious. There's a change. And it's not just in the SEC, it's across college baseball. So, yeah, I mean, they juice the balls to get more offense in the game, and that's fine. Everybody loves offense. Chicks dig the long ball and all that stuff. Just tell us you're doing it. Jonathan Martin, let's see. Gulf South, what's the best website to find different stats? I was trying to see how many double plays LSU has turned. I mean, I just look at all the composite stats on LSUsports.net for all that. Randall, unfortunate thing is the best team rarely ever wins it all in baseball, but I do believe LSU will. You hope LSU will. Let's see. All right, almost done, y'all. My apologies here. H.D. Williams, good morning, sir. Do likes count even if watching a recorded show? Absolutely. Yes, always. When you like a video that or engage with comments, that tells the algorithm, and also watch time as well, which is what every platform wants. They want you to stay and watch long time. So like, that tells the algorithm, hey, people like this, they comment on it, they watch it for a long time, let's show it to more people in their suggested videos so they'll watch. So yes, that matters. Even if you're watching on demand, yes, absolutely. Cortland, maybe if they fired Bobby Mann, they could afford to fix the library. Gulf South, how normal is it to have a player coaching first base after the coach gets tossed? No, the coach in the dugout can do it. Not completely uncommon. You see pitchers do it from time to time as well. They'll go stand and coach first base. But remember, Jay never coaches a base. So like, you have Jordan and Wanaka do it. So, Jordan's at third, Wanaka's at first, and Jay Johnson doesn't coach a base. Some head coaches do. Maneri coached third for a point in his career, then stopped. So definitely not common, but not completely unprecedented, I guess is the way to say it. Okay, Roger Dodger, good morning. Did you cover the ump who the ump did and didn't throw it? I could not follow it. Yeah, so initially they thought they threw out Jamie Tutko. So Jamie Tutko is like the video director for LSU. He was the guy in the gray polo. That's what they thought initially, was they threw out Tutko. Well, then Tutko came back out there. It's really who they had thrown out was Josh Jordan, who's like the other hitting coach and the recruiting guy that brought in last year from Duke. So, and also coaches third base. So that's whenever Butch Thompson blew a gasket in the fourth as well, when he came out and was ranting and raving about all that stupid stuff. Matt Lusto, bring some old balls and new balls to the mechanical engineering department. They'll be able to tell you differently. Some people have done that before, like they've examined the balls and stuff like that. Cortland, if speeding up the game is so important, the ump shouldn't allow coaches to rant, freeze up a pitcher. Look, flow of the game absolutely matters. I mean, and look, Jay came out several times as well, but the time Butch Thompson came out, they let him extend that a little too long. Like, either run him or get him back in the dugout. Anyway, that doesn't change the fact that if you're LSU, you still needed to hit the ball in clutch spots last night, which they didn't do. But anyway. Okay. I think we're done. Aaron Hornsby, what's up? Ty Fly, good morning. Sean said, I think Floyd or the coaches like Travinsky catching Floyd for some reason. Yeah, usually in college, Sean, the pitcher doesn't get the choice. That happens in Major League Baseball. Like if you're an ace and you want a certain guy catching you, you can pick your catcher for sure. That's typically not something that happens in college. Like they may let Skeens choose, right? Like if he wanted to, but that typically doesn't happen. That happens at the major league level. That typically doesn't happen at the college level. So, okay. I gotta go. It's 10:48. I gotta go to mass at 11:30. So, y'all have an awesome day. Thanks so much for watching. Go Tigers. As always, shout out to Brock and Hudco. You need an orthopedist, go to Brock. You need a roof, give us a shout out to Hudco. Have a great Sunday. Go Tigers. Let's get this win today, win the series, and take another step closer to the national seed. So, we'll see y'all. Peace. Thanks for watching.